It's like you told me, go for it slowly. It's not a race till the end. Well, you look like yourself, but you're somebody else. Only it ain't on the surface. Well, you talk like yourself. No, I hear someone else. Though now you're making me nervous.
All right, everybody, happy Friday. Welcome back to another episode of Morning Coffee with Rick Alexander. Today's episode of Morning Coffee is brought to you by Brick Built Strength. Brick Built, if you guys don't remember, I had Dom and Danielle on an earlier episode of Lionheart Radio where they talked about their personal training business, Brick Built Strength. It's an online training company. These are two humans that I really believe are doing it right in the world. I think that they are not only providing a superior product, but they're also going about it the right way, and they're figuring it out. And I'm not getting paid to do this plug in any way, shape, or form, but these episodes this week have been powered by their original blend. They have a coffee blend, Brick Built Coffee. And so if you guys are interested in training, online training, if you're interested in coffee, which everybody that listens to this better be, except for a couple people that drink tea, I would say check them out, brickbuiltstrength.com. They're doing some great things in the world, and I'm just happy to be a part of it, to be honest with you. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about communication. So communication is something that we take for granted. Now, as a content producer, a writer, a broadcaster, I clearly think about communication quite a bit because I have all of these ideas in my head, and I have all of this, deep work that I've done over the last few years, and I want to be able to communicate it to you in a way that makes sense and you're able to easily digest. And then I also want to make it applicable so that you can start applying it to your own life to make your own life better. Because if I'm just talking at you and you're not taking this information for action, then what the hell is even the point? A lot of people, they'll read 50 books in a year, and it's like, okay, well, what did you do? What did you implement from those books? How did they change your life? Are you reading them just to read them? Do you want a medal or a cookie because you read a lot of books? Or are you reading books that have impact and then you're thinking about ways to apply them to your life? In my opinion, the second is much more important. The way that we communicate and the way that we receive communication is invaluable in this life because we have the ability to sell ourselves, and you, believe it or not, are always selling yourself. If you want a higher salary, if you want people to come around to your political points of view, if you have a business that you're starting, if you have a project, no matter what, we are all in sales and we are all selling ourselves. We're selling our ideas. And even if you are somebody that wants a relationship, which we are relationship-driven species, everybody here does, you're selling yourself. You are essentially trying to convince somebody else why you are worth spending their time on this earth with. And so the tenets of what makes good communication are really important. So over the coming weeks, there will be different episodes that I drop on communication. But I wanted to start with a really rudimentary understanding of it. I wanted to talk about two distinct personality traits, and I wanted to talk about how those are affecting the way that we communicate and the way that we receive communication. So I wanted to talk about the traits of conscientiousness, and I wanted to talk about the traits of openness. So the traits of conscientiousness that basically means that you are somebody who has their head in order, you are hardworking, you are disciplined, you are basically willing to do the work. Anybody that is conservative or Republican on the political spectrum tends to be, on average, really high in the trait conscientiousness. Now, in the trait openness, I think that one pretty much speaks for itself. So openness is this idea that you are very understanding of others' points of view, and you are very understanding of other ways to be in the world. When we look at the political left, it tends to be that people on the liberal or the Democratic side of the equation are very high in the trait openness. Now, I started my life really high with the trait conscientiousness. And then as I've evolved and as I've grown as a human being, I've actually developed really high trait of openness. And so now I have both. So conscientiousness makes you a really hard worker, a really good worker, but creatives tend to be really high in openness. Now, here's the way that this is going to play out in our everyday lives. See, we have to know a little bit about how we deal with things in life so that we can know what the hell other people are talking about. And again, if we want to get people to our side or to our point of view or to even see things the way that we see them, then it's important that we figure out the ability to communicate. And we have to figure out not only how we communicate, but how other people communicate. That way we know what's going on here, because so many conversations, I see it in fitness, I see it in self-development and personal development, I see it in self-help. Basically, people are talking past each other. I'm telling you, hey, this is what works. And then you're telling me, hey, this doesn't work for me. And there's a disconnect there. And so that disconnect is often occurring because people are high in different personality traits than the person that they're communicating with. So the best way that I've ever heard this explained is somebody that has a psychosomatic disorder such as schizophrenia is it makes it really hard to just exist in the world with everybody else, right? Because you're constantly dealing with this psychosomatic disorder. Now, we all have these different psychosomatic disorders on different levels that we're all sort of contending with. But if you're really high in the spectrum on any of them, it's going to make being in the world really hard, because conforming to what society wants you to do is going to be really hard. Now, somebody with a high trait of conscientiousness looks at somebody with schizophrenia and they say, listen, if you could just get yourself in order, if you could get up early, get on a routine, if you could just work harder at being a person and at your job, then you would be okay. Now, of course, that is true, except for the person with a psychosomatic disorder like schizophrenia doesn't have the ability to work hard or to get their life in order, right? And that's why we have drugs and all these different professions literally around helping people get their life in order. Now, the reason I'm highlighting that is because somebody with a high trait of conscientiousness doesn't have the ability to see that that person isn't able to do what they're saying. It's not that what they're saying isn't true, it's what they're saying isn't going to be effective. When you think about the advice that you're getting from self-help people, from personal development, from coaches, from athletes, from whoever it is, from social media influencers, whoever you get your advice from, you have to make sure that they're giving you advice in a way that you're going to understand it. Otherwise, you're going to be ineffective when it comes to moving in the world. Now, we might not all have schizophrenia or whatever psychosomatic disorder is taking place, but the reality is that if we're always talking past each other, it doesn't matter if we figured out what works, we're not ever going to be able to help people out. And if we are dealing with something that the person who is talking to us isn't dealing with, their advice might be garbage for our life. And it's not that what they're saying isn't true, it's what they're saying isn't going to be effective for us. And so today, what I would say is, as you listen to this episode and you think about your life and what you're trying to do, think about the people that are giving you advice and think about who you're getting advice from. And just think about like your relationships and all the communication that's taking place every day. It could be the disconnect is occurring because you guys are really different in traits. And so what works for you isn't going to work for them and vice versa. We have to be very clear about the way we communicate our ideas if we ever want to be able to evolve and to change. And so take a minute, think back, think about the advice that you're being given every single day, and think about whether it's applicable to who you are as a person. And if it's not, that's okay. There are other people that are high in the trait that you are high in who understand that thing. Now, if you find yourself getting frustrated, this is also very valuable to know. If you find yourself getting frustrated about politics or any other inconsequential thing that's taking your emotional bandwidth, this is a good opportunity to step back and think, holy shit, is this person just viewing the world so much different than me? It's not that he's wrong or I'm wrong. It's that we have different opinions because we are seeing the world in completely different ways. So when it comes to communication, not only is it going to help you sell yourself, not only is it going to help you digest personal development and self-help ideas, but it's also going to help your sanity, because sometimes we bang our heads against a wall trying to figure out why somebody might think the way they think when it's so different and so counterintuitive to what we believe. The reality is that they might be looking at the world different in the first place. And so it's not what they're saying isn't true. It's that what they're saying doesn't apply to you. And so hopefully this is a good way for you to think about communication as you go through your life. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you on Monday on Morning Coffee.
I've been trying to find this vibe for a long time. Always seeming like it's coming on its own time. But it feels so good, ain't gonna lie. My ride or die, feels so good, ain't gonna lie. Now that last goodbye, all the way up and you can't take this. Cause it's feeling so real that you can't fake this. But it feels so good, ain't gonna lie. My ride or die, feels so good, ain't gonna lie. Now that last goodbye, we ain't never gonna quit. We ain't never gonna quit it, boy. Nah, we ain't never gonna quit. Nah, 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 we ain't never gonna quit it. Always trying to chime me. The temperature be rising. What's going on? I could've sworn that you be psychic. 1-800. You push my buttons, I'm like Tyson. Been years since I felt like this. So blessed. Gonna ask if you can stay. For the rest, I'm alive cause I need you. Real joy in my life, yeah, I need you. Just be you. We ain't never gonna quit. We ain't never gonna quit it, boy. Nah, we ain't never gonna quit. Nah, 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 we ain't never gonna quit it. Every day's a gift, just take it as it comes. Embrace it through the mist, weather, rain or sun. Every day is a gift, you got air up in your lungs. Be grateful, rain or sun. Every day's a gift, just take it as it comes. Embrace it through the mist, weather, rain or sun. Every day's a gift, you got air up in your lungs. Grateful rain or sun.